All right, welcome to our assignment where we're really going to dig into, now that we've looked at and thought a little bit about different perspectives on the Constitution, we're going to look a little more strictly at the Constitution itself and come to a conclusion here. Okay, so you do need to take a position in answer to the question, which social groups were really represented during the Constitutional Convention? Okay, it means you need to pick one or more groups and talk about how it was or was not represented at the Constitutional Convention. Okay, so you could say, for example, enslaved African Americans were not really represented at the Constitutional Convention. That would be an example where you're saying somebody was not. Or perhaps you could say workers were not really represented at the Constitutional Convention, right? You could equally well say bankers were really well represented at the Constitutional Convention, right? Probably the best way to handle this would be to structure it as a CER paragraph. That's a claim, evidence, and reasoning paragraph, okay? And just like any time you're making an argument for me or really for any of your history teachers, okay, you need to include some evidence and some reasoning. So pull a quote and explain to me, this is the reasoning piece, right? Explain to me how it shows that people were or were not represented. So you're going to need your notes from the last assignment, okay, and last week's readings. And then you're also going to need this handout right here. Okay, and this handout is going to have some of the same stuff that you saw in the previous handouts, but now we're going to have what were the results. So in other words, what does the Constitution actually say in answer to that question? All right, and if you're curious and you actually want to go back and read the text of the Constitution, it's going to give you those reference points. If you're really into government, I say read the text. Personally, I really enjoyed it the first time I read it, though admittedly I was a few years older than you, but I found it absolutely fascinating, and it's what really cemented my love of U.S. history, right? But it kind of sums up what the Constitution says. So you can use this information, right, and quote from this information to show how that does or doesn't demonstrate the perspective of the groups you're talking about, okay? And then you've got a graphic organizer here to help you figure your response, okay? But treat it basically like it's a CER paragraph. Give me some evidence, give me some reasoning, show me some thinking, show me that you understand who was and who wasn't represented at the Constitutional Convention. All right, just like always, if you have any questions or if you need any help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in class.